Good morning, park managers, and welcome back to How to Build on Jurassic World Evolution 2. Today we're going to be trying to do something a little bit different as such. I've made plenty of swamps, but I did on the live stream a different way of making a swamp, and I really did enjoy making it. So the style we're going for is actually a New Orleans style swamp, where it's like loads of trees growing around the water and things like that. And we're going to try and recreate it as best as we can in Jurassic World Evolution 2. Because as we all know, or if you don't know, there isn't that many types of plants and things like that. I think what I'll do actually, instead of, we'll lower the ground a wee bit, so then it's kind of like level with the fence when we put the water. I'd hope so, anyways. If not, we have like a nice like little dip, and it kind of adds to like the man-made look of the enclosure rather than it being natural. We'll be using a brush, and we are on the tropical map. This is the tropical square map. So I always find, I don't know what it's about the tropical look. I feel like it has like a really nice kind of look to it. So right, now that we add on water, actually it's worked out quite nicely. It hasn't made a bank, but it is level with the ground. I really wish that when you place water anyways, it was just level with the ground, rather than having to do some like fancy work to make it level. It would make things a lot quicker when doing these kind of builds. We're going to just push up nearly up to the fence. I don't want the fence to be in the water. I know it's a square and I'm only really doing it to display the kind of like habitat that we're making here, but honestly I kind of like it, the fence not to dip. Right, anyway, so we're going to get our brush, and we're going to be using the Clamamites, as I feel like that is honestly one of the better looking brushes for swamps, because Clamamites look very swampy anyways. So we'll just go around the whole of the outside with it at first, just so we can sort of like get an idea of where a lot of the Clamamites are going, because right now they're in front of the viewing gallery, so I don't really want that, because I want our guests to have a really nice view, so we'll get rid of that. And then we'll fill up the rest. Actually, yeah, we'll just may as well, I don't know why, we'll just fill up the whole thing. It'll be easier to do it then we can carve our paths out. So we are going to be having a piscivore in here. I haven't quite decided yet, because usually I use Spinosaurus, and I feel like I should do something different like a Sarcosuchus. But yeah, we're going to carve some paths where we don't want any plants, and like the trees, we'll probably do it so it's the main entrance kind of thing. Probably have that so it goes up here. We want it to connect through. It's slightly thin here, we can sort of do that there, like make it small as can. Maybe have a little gap over here, and that's going to be our kind of like layout. We can sort of decide where the trees are going to go. Maybe have like a little gap here. So these areas where we've got the Clamamites, that's where our trees are going to be. For food, we probably want to bring it to the front, so nearly at the front anyways. Like it there, so then our guests can see it. Actually, yeah, let's delete it. I think, do I want it? Yeah, we'll make the ground dirt coloured. I feel like that will add like an extra texture to it. Like the picture I've got up looking at the New Orleans, I'll probably pop it up in the editing. But like the picture I've got, the water's quite brown, with then obviously all the green floating plants on top. But we don't have floating plants, so well then it kind of looks alright. It's stage green where the plants are, but then where the path is, it's all muddy. So I feel that's kind of worked out in our favour. We'll just do it. We'll bring the mud up to the edge of the banks as well. Sounds like it makes it look. I don't know. I quite like the look of it. Right. So we ain't going to be placing any rocks in this enclosure, mainly because with it being so swampy and the soil would be quite moist, the rock would just sink into that layer, into that silt layer. So we won't have any rocks in this enclosure, which it pains me. Something I quite like using for the tree was I didn't realise this nice long one here, because it kind of, other than the trunk of it, it has almost that kind of look. I mean, even with this one as well. So we're going to be doing a mix of these. So this is the Malta or the Mediterranean tree medium 1, and this is large tree 2. They're going to be our two main ones, and then when we go to jungle, we're going to be using large tree 2, and we'll be using large tree 3. And these are the plants we're going to go for, because if you look at like the sample picture I've got, it's mainly just trunk and then a bit of all this knocking around at the top. And it's really cool, but it's really densely packed as well. So that is what we're going to try and do here, is densely pack it as best as we can. We're not on random rotation, so we'll turn that on. We'll just go off with the jungle trees first. I won't do too many of these because these are going to be our smaller kind of like babyish trees, maybe the way of saying it, or the smaller species. This adds like different volumes of height to the actual enclosure itself and the environment. Now, I remember someone saying to me, I think it was in a live stream last night, where they're like, oh, it looks so weird having trees in water. And I mean, it does, until you look at some of these pictures, and I think it's a really ace habitat. And something I hope for like the next Jurassic World game on Tier we have a even bigger selection of like plants to use. I feel like it would just elevate the game that much more, especially when trying to make different environments. Like, don't get me wrong, this is a great game, and you can somewhat mimic environments, but some of them look kind of weird. Especially when you're using like the plants as food for the herbivores. Because when you're in a desert, it just looks so strange, some of the plants that grow. So I hope that we do have either like different plants for different environments to feed them, or we have it so that it's like you got a choice between using those plants or using like a herbivore feeder, or it could be even the fact that you have to grow those plants for the staff to go and harvest that like vegetation matter to then go and stock up the herbivore feeders. I feel like that would be kind of a cool game mechanic. So you'd have like a certain area, fence it off, and make it into like a garden kind of thing, and that's like where the staff got to go and collect the food for the herbivore feeders. Feels like a little bit extra, but I think it'd be quite a cool game mechanic. I'd dig it anyways, because I really do miss herbivore feeders. Not that we're having a herbivore in it. To be honest, we're gonna have to in pirates, but I like my more aggressive looking critters. Right, there we go. So we've got those trees. So we'll go down to the Mediterranean now. We'll use that one. We'll use these. I do this one quite sparsely because it is already a humongous tree in itself, and I quite like that as like the adult tree, the one that's been there the longest, it's grown the longest. And then we'll go to the other tree. We'll place more of those ones down. Honestly, I feel like this gives like an interesting look, especially how packed it looks, especially once you've done with it. We might go around adding even more of the other jungle trees just to make it even more like sort of dense looking. Right. We'll now use this one. We'll use a fair few of these as well. When we get down, it's starting to look a lot dense, like the sample picture that I've got, the New Orleans. But this is the thing like Jurassic World Evolution. Like, it's not exactly like what you're trying to make, because obviously these aren't all the plants that grow in that area, but it's close enough to like look at it and know what exactly you're going for. And honestly, I really do like this, and the climber mites look kind of interesting in there. Obviously there's no climber mites like that there, but it just adds something a little bit extra. And if you are using this for like a herbivore, at least you've got a food brush then. And it kind of has like a swampy feel to it. And it sounds like my dog has found its toy ball again and is like hitting the door. I don't know if the microphone is picking that up or not, but I can definitely hear it through the sound cancelling headphones. Anyways, man, there's something really peaceful about placing stuff down like this. Like when I'm doing these like kind of talks, I'm not talking to them. I'm kind of just talking to myself here. Obviously, I'm saying what's going on, but at the same time, I'm like, what else am I talking about? Like kind of just like stuck there. I don't want to be like completely silent throughout the video. This is like usually when I'm doing these builds, I'm not talking to myself, but I have like music like absolutely booming. But I can't have that music playing whilst on here because then it'd be copyrighted, which we don't want. But we are going to, like I said, we're using this mortar tree as the main thick of it. Trying not to cover up all the trees with it. Kind of makes it like a really cool hiding place as well. Like it's somewhat shelter. Yeah, that's okay. I don't know about... I'm kind of 50-50 with the Clamamites right now. As much as I love them, I think maybe I'm gonna have an experiment with the brushes. And that's the thing with like making these enclosures. You don't have to stick with what you've got from the get-go. You can go around just changing it up a wee bit. That's something I do a fair bit anyways. Right, we'll have it like that. It looks pretty close. Let's just have a look at the brushes. What does this brush look like? I'll experiment with this side. I mean, oh, actually that looks somewhat swampy, doesn't it? Especially with those. You can always go around adding more little bushes. Well, actually that could be... No, that's not contended. I think we'll swap the Clamamites with this, and we'll go around adding our own little bushes. So we're trying... Because I feel like, as much as I like in the Clamamites, actually, I kind of feel like they're kind of getting in the way with the overall look. It's just mainly I like that big bush that comes with the Clamamites. We can improvise. We can improvise. So we'll try and... I don't know why I'm still using like a little... No, just do that. Do that bit there. That's probably why I was using a smaller brush. Do this here like that. We can keep the odd plant. We don't have to get rid of them all. That's like an interesting or just a random plant that's grown in there. So do that. I think right, okay. That's looking a bit better actually. Better than that brush. We'll go there. And this is where the experimenting comes in. So obviously that's kind of swampy, and it looks like there is something that's like that in my pictures. But then it wants to be a bit more bushy because there's like a lot of bushes. I mean, as much as I like that, I think it fits. It's a bit brighter. Actually, yeah, that's and I think of that as well, maybe a few of these. Yeah, well, that's how I think we'll go with that. We'll mix up a wee bit. Any gaps that we can. What about that? No, that's too obvious. The trunk would be a bit lower down than that. Or was that the small one I picked? Yeah, it was the small one I picked. I think we'll do a mix of that bush and this bush. We'll do this middle area first. We'll see what we think afterwards. I think the combination with bush and everything, I feel like it'll go right. Again, that's what I mean. You don't have to stick with what you had at first. If you're not too sure of it, you can always change it up. Honestly, it's nice and chill, isn't it? Just messing around, seeing what you can try and almost create the look of. You know, you can always add a little bit of storytelling. I don't know about this one. I mean, if there was boat tours, this would be a really nice enclosure for it. I know there's mods out there for a boat, and see, I'm tempted. I am so tempted to start using mods, but at the same time, I'm also, I feel like I don't need them yet. But as well, I'm also kind of scared. So I've never tried modding a game like this. Jurassic Park Operation Genesis was really easy because you went into the file and then you just changed a few of the codes. Like you'd change like population number to 64 to 200, for example. Nice and easy. But here you got to download files into it and things like that. And they say, oh, you best save some files because I'm like, how do I go about saving an entire game's files so I don't mess it up? Does that mean there's going to be like essentially 2 copies of the game. Like, I really need to watch a tutorial, because I think this enclosure would be amazing for a boat tour. And there's a scene and mod where you can, like, basically free place all the plants. So I could submerge some of the trees into the ground to create a more of a bush look, which I quite like the idea of. And there's a few more little bushes here and there. But overall, I think we might have sussed it with the way we want this to look. It's definitely looking more or less like the New Orleans forest. Like, I feel like it has that kind of potential to it. I know it's like a lot of separate bushes that aren't all close to each other, but we can carry on getting them as close as we can. Maybe add a dark one as well. Yeah, just to do a different colour contrast. We'll do that. We'll add this darker one. And yeah, building these enclosures in real time. Like, let me know, is it more interesting for you to watch, or do you prefer the speed builds? I know I've had a lot of people asking, like, oh, you should do longer videos of you making these enclosures things, and I guess it's easier to follow than a speed build. And I mean, it's quite fun to make it, just talking to myself. But like the products at the end are quite interesting. But yeah, let me know in the comments, is this something you enjoy, or do you prefer the speed builds, or do you quite like listening to me yap on whilst I'm making this? Obviously, I thought I was going to put some Jurassic Park Operation Genesis music in the background just for like nostalgia. But I think we'll go on camera view so I can get a better look. Oh yeah, that looks better. I quite enjoyed that. That's a nice, interesting look. Right, okay. Let's go continue pushing all these up. Try and carry on with that look. Luckily, it's all in the temperate fire, so I don't have to go. Sorry to those that don't have a new gen console or this game on PC, because obviously you're going to be pretty stuck with how to do this, in the sense of you can only use brushes. I do plan to do some more simple environmental enclosure builds. Been kind of experimenting on other things and how to do them. Because, like, it's a bit of a challenge if you're an old gen console, because you don't have the ability to have everything all in one map. I kind of get it though, because I honestly, like, even on my Xbox X, like, if I just zoom out a little bit, I have a ton of enclosures over there, all full with dinosaurs. If this was on my Xbox X, it would have been lagging. Like, my other how to build parts, where I've done this kind of thing on the Xbox X, it's like there's no way I could add any more enclosures than I did. Not compared to how many I've got on PC. So yeah, it's a drastic difference. But then that's why I made the Great British Dinosaur Zoo. That was just like an example of making like a nice looking zoo, but not having to use every dinosaur in the game. Like, I feel like that's a trap a lot of people fall into. It's like, oh, I'm going to make a dinosaur zoo. I'm going to use all species of dinosaurs. And then obviously it becomes laggy. Like, one of my favourite ways of making a zoo is picking 10 dinosaurs of any other prehistoric creature, and then making a park with only those dinosaurs. Like, I feel like it's more interesting and challenging in a way to build it like that. Mainly because, one, you've restricted yourself. Two, it won't be laggy when you're done. Because it's like I said, it's easy to fall in that trap of going, I'm going to do an enclosure for every dinosaur. It's a Triceratops, I can't have it by itself, so it needs a herd of 6. Before you know it, you've got a couple of hundred dinosaurs in your park. Which is, it's definitely going to cause some running issues with whatever console or even PC. I can imagine it being pretty difficult. Like, if I'm going to do an all-species park, it's going to be like one of everything or out of push, like Noah's Ark. You know, 2 of each. But yeah, it's definitely one of those things you got to say, like, hold back, kind of like go, oh, you know what, I'm going to make this park, but I'm only going to have one large predator, one medium predator, one large herbivore, one medium herbivore, one small scavenger, one small herbivore, one lagoon creature, one air creature, and kind of do it like that. Also, I'm really happy with the way this is starting to look. I'm glad I kind of like didn't stick with the calamite bush. We got some here. There's still some nice ones knocking around. I'm kind of glad I didn't stick with it. Just decide I'm gonna do it this way. I don't know how many of these are in the. Got 1,442 of these in there. We use this brush a lot. And then how many of these trees? We have 200. Oh wait, I read that wrong. We got 444. I don't know why I added that one there. That's what the bush is. Those trees got 200. Those 200 odd. I kind of like the idea. I can sort of see how many I've got of each. I'd hate to look at the rocks, because I know I overdo it with rocks in a lot of enclosures that I've built in it. I'm still impressed with like my PC's running this without it being somewhat laggy, because there's tons of decorations, like absolute tons of decorations. And obviously there's a fair few dinosaurs, because some of the enclosures have some decent birds in. Yeah, I'm pretty impressed with how things are still running. There we go. Then we'll add a few of these in. Also, it's a trick when you start building these. It's like trying to like, oh, how can I fit that in there? That's something I hope they sort of change in the next one as well. That there isn't this clash between items. So then it's kind of like easier to make these really thick vegetation areas. And it'd be kind of cool if they had like an option to have it so certain dinosaurs would get stuck in this, in a sense if they wouldn't bother to go through it. Like a small thing like Homocephaly would just run through this with ease and get away from a T-Rex, which would be like, actually that's too dense for me to go through, I best just leave it alone, it cancels the hunt. It'd be kind of like an extra interesting you know, feature in the game. Be like a definitely like interesting like, I'm going to say behavioural mechanic. It's not quite a behaviour, but I suppose it is. It's kind of deciding in itself like, oh, it's too dangerous for me to go through, so that Homocephaly can live another day. And why is that? Why does everyone choose to bully the Homocephaly? It's such a cute dinosaur, but it's always getting absolutely massacred. Especially when a new DLC came out with a carnivore in it. You know Homocephaly was... You know it was getting fed alive as live food. Poor little fella. All he wants to do is live life in its cutest way possible. Yeah. We've still got a while to go. Like, see, building like this can take a while. We've only done this section. We've still got the back to do and this little section here. So it's one of those things where it's about, if you're not patient, it's probably not the best build for you. But luckily for me, I'm pretty patient. I like the end result. It's just chill for me, placing all these down. Kind of therapeutic in a way, and I don't know why. Maybe it's just a noise. Again, like if you ever asked, how do you not get bored? I honestly, I have no answer for you. I mean, I just love the game. And I've been playing this still, like I said, like every week I play this game, without fail. And I've never got bored of it yet. I've never really ran out of ideas. I really wish I didn't have the mentality where like, oh, I've got too many save files, I don't want to go through them all, so I start deleting them all. Because there's so many parks I should still have, but I don't have because I've just gone like, yeah, I've not been on that save file for a while, I want to make some space, bye-bye. Like, I don't think I have anything I originally built on the first Jurassic World Evolution. I think after I started playing Jurassic World Evolution 2 all the time, I sort of cleared them all for one file, where I went back onto it onto the sandbox mode just to make like all the hybrid enclosures, so I can sort of show off the difference between the hybrids on here and that game. Ankylodoculus, man. No, it's a thing of nightmares. On there, very Happy Valleys kind of face. The way it just looks at you with those dead eyes as well. I feel like there's some dinosaurs where they just... I feel like they haven't got the eyes right, and it's just so weird to stare at them. Gives you like chills. Yeah, should do a few around this one tree. Break up a little bit. Make it feel included. Like, again, like, there's the only issue with this bush. It feels like it's meant to be like an evergreen bush. It just looks a bit funky. When did I turn random rotation off? I don't remember turning that off. It just turned itself off after a while. That means a lot of those plants are going to be looking the same. Oh well. The reason why I have random rotation on as well is so everything doesn't look samey. Like, it just kind of looks different. Kind of breaks up the sense of, like, when you look into a forest, it doesn't look all the same. And again, I'm going to use Happy Valleys. It'll have a Happy Valleys feel with all the trees even. Trees? Why can I not word right now? All the trees and all the plants were facing the same way. It just looks kind of, it's sore on the eyes, like it's extremely noticeable. So it is kind of best to have it so that on random rotation, everything, even though it's the same item over and over again, it has a slightly different look. And again, that's probably where, if they had the tool where you can like drag the plant up and down above the ground level, would be kind of helpful to this game, because you can make all those trees are the same height, but you can make them look all extra different by having them all different heights. And I'm pretty sure there is a mod for that. It's 50-50 I download that mod or not eventually, because I hear that a lot of the, if it's not a dinosaur mod, but if it's like the mod for moving plants and rocks, kind of has more liability to crash your game, which I don't want to destroy my game, considering the majority of my content is Jurassic World Evolution, and I will play this game. And guess that's what saving the files is for, so you can just bring them back. I really need to figure out at some point. Find an in-depth tutorial. But I really want like some crocodilivore, some crocodiles in this game. Like Deinosuchus would be so cool to have on here. Catasuchus, I've seen mods for those. And then Elite Sick Bees. I really wish when it was the aquatic species pack, when we saw that fin and everyone's like, oh, it's Megalodon, and then there's like me, I was hoping it was Lead Sick Bees. Don't get me wrong, I love Donkey, but Lead Sick Bees would be my #1 creature, my #1 marine fish to add to the game. And again, I really pray that it is in the next Jurassic World, whatever it's going to be called. I still don't get why they're being so secretive with the name. I just keep saying Jurassic game, and it honestly makes me feel like it's not going to be called Jurassic World Evolution 3. Even though I feel like it kind of should. It kind of also feels like they're going to give it a different name, which is interesting. Like, is it still going to be 100% a park builder? I can imagine it will be, because of they said that they're going to be sticking with the management team. So I'm very intrigued to what we're going to get next year from Frontier. Super excited though. Really excited. Again, like, are they going to be adding Cenozoic creatures in? I feel like that'd be a very unique selling point, and I know a lot of people are completely divided on that, if they're going to be wanting like all those different creatures. I mean, I wouldn't be mad. I mean, we've already got the Megalodon, and that's a Stenosauric creature. And in Count Cretaceous, we already came across a saber-tooth. We also come across mammoth DNA that they're extracting. And to be honest, imagine the fight that I would love to see, especially when in the fighting ring, would be mammoth versus T-Rex. Could you imagine? Like, it's just so, like, a really cool concept. Like, I mean, I guess the T-Rex would probably win over time after battering. It would have to be like a battering contest because how big the mammoth is, and it doesn't really have like an easy neck to chomp down because obviously the tusks and all that's going to be in the way, like defensively, anyways. So yeah, it'd be interesting. Can you imagine like a Smilodon hunting down a pack of Gallimimus? It's just something you wouldn't expect to see, but it'd be weird in a cool way. Definitely something I'd love to see. And then just being able to make enclosures for them in general. Like a Jurassic swing on like prehistoric mammals. Oh, imagine if they, like, there's also a mod for this game, Megalania, another Cenozoic creature. Essentially, to describe if you don't know what it is, it's just like a humongous Komodo dragon. It's probably the best way to describe that beast. That would be ace. Like, no, the mod on here looks incredible. And it even does like a little stand, which is ace. Like, it's like looking over tall grass, for example. A tall grass brush would be nice on here. Because there's like a tall grass that you get in the tropical, like, thick jungle brush. And that looks ace. Imagine just being able to do a field of that. That'd be brilliant. I wonder if someone's done the mod for that as well. Eventually I'll probably get into mods, but for now, I'm going to be sticking like that. And that is ready for our dinosaur. So, that was quite a nice build. It was a bit long. How long we've been doing this for? Does it say? Half an hour. Half an hour. Yeah, it's taken the time, but it has quite a nice aesthetic, especially when you're on like ground level of it. And like I said, if we had a boat tour, this enclosure would be perfect for a boat tour. But anyways, I will get a dinosaur in here. I haven't decided just what I want yet, but we'll get a dinosaur in there. I'll get a few like camera pan action and thing going on at the end, a little bit of a montage. But I hope you found this interesting. Let me know in the comments, is this the kind of video you would prefer, or do you prefer my speed builds? But as always, thank you for watching. Till next time, I'll see you later.